Name drop. Hi, Brian.
Hey, Christopher.
What's up?
What's up? I'm impressed that you even said yes to come on the show. I haven't seen you since you was just a little guy. Which,
well, it's only 2 minutes from my house.
You're like, I have nothing else to do.
It's like, dude, of course I'm gonna say yeah.
Ladies and
just so you know, you are now the musical director of the show too. Sorry.
Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, man, woman, and child, this is Name Drop with Rome.
How's it going?
Not Sublime with Rome.
No, Name Drop.
Name Drop with Rome.
You just invited a third guest permanently. Keep this stool.
So you don't live in the East Bay anymore. You live in Nashville.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
man.
So,
I've been living here for about 4 years now.
Congratulations on everything.
There you go. This matches your hat. You get this one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Every
yeah,
time
like
somebody
purple.
drops a name, ding your little bit. You don't have to put it on your. You can put it back there.
You and I met 2010. It was right when you came on the scene with Sublime,
Right.
and you came to. I was co-hosting the KTLA morning show. I was in for Sam Rubin, and I was so stoked that you were coming up.
Yeah.
And you were just like this wide-eyed, like the kid that everyone was like, you got to hear him sing.
Oh, man, that's cool.
Oh, dude, it was one of the coolest things ever. And you like. You tore down the house. It was
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it was pretty special.
You know, like that's like that was a really interesting time for me because that was like I had this transition where I was like discovered, and then it was only about 2 years before I was like in front of like literally like 100,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like 100 people at a bar to like 100,000 people, and I had about 2 years to kind of, get into that role, but really only knew a year in advance. So it was like a really, interesting place. And then, it's funny because you go from like nobody wanted nothing to do with you to like everybody wanted to like talk and like give you free stuff, And then it's like that like transition is just such a trend.
So
Do you feel like that's like your rock star moment, like the movie Rock Star, where it's like it's a band, you know the band, you know the music, you love the music, you get discovered, and they're like, hey, guess what? Now you're the band. What is that like? I started a band. We had a band, right? I was in a band. I didn't get to see a band and go, God, I love this band, and then them come to me and go, we want you.
I saw the movie Rockstar for the first time ever, like 5 years ago, after everyone said that. And dude, on the money. Like the whole movie is like crazy. But it was absolutely that. I mean,
Wait, that was
worship
Mark
Sublime.
Wahlberg, right?
Mark Wahlberg.
That one. Oh, that's a celebrity right there. That's right. That was a really weak bell for me, by the way.
Yeah.
But no, I got no stories with Mark. But yeah, man. I mean, I like literally no shitting you, like posters on my wall, 5 of them. Just surrounded, worship the music. Taught myself how to play guitar so I can learn their songs. The whole 9. So,
Because you moved from the South Bay to LA when you were 18 years old.
Yeah.
And then Wilson, how'd you all meet?
Okay, so I was like hanging out in, Wilson, there you go. So I was hanging out in LA. I was studying to become like an engineer. And my whole thing was like, move up the ranks and show people my demos and shit, whatever. And while I was in like a studio session, like I ran into Eric Wilson, the dude from Sublime. And he was just like, dude, you're, pretty dope. We should jam. You should come over to my parties and stuff. Because he'd always have these like rad parties.
Like Christmas parties.
Christmas, St. Patty's Day.
Yeah.
Just because. It's
Football, Sunday.
Yeah, dude, whatever. He'd throw the raddest
This is
parties
like in Long
back
Beach?
there. Yep.
Yeah.
And he lived like on the peninsula, so it was just like, sand and ocean. Me, I was homeless at the time, living in my van, so I'd never even been to houses like this. And I'm like, this is so sick. So anyway.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, dude, it was like so crazy. And then especially it being him, So I'm like full circle moments. And I mean, that's like how it was for about like a year. And then him and our soon-to-be manager, they like called me up one day and were like, hey, we heard you've been jamming with Eric at his house parties and stuff, Sublime songs. Would you be into, being the singer for a reunion for Sublime?
Wow.
We're supposed to do a tour.
Did your heart just like, I mean, that's winning the lottery. That's especially.
It was like
you're in your van. You're in your
crazy.
van. You're freaking out over his house.
Yeah.
And now
exactly.
they're like, hey, guess what? You're gonna be doing stuff with us.
Yeah. I mean, it was like definitely like a huge opportunity that, I had so many questions.
Yeah.
You know, so like I do remember the first thing I was like, can I go outside for a minute? You know, just kind of like, and they were like, what? You know?
So then when you put your clothes back on and got out of the Taco Bell.
Can I get in that pool back there?
Were there tears flowing?
Dude, no, I mean, I was just like, I was just really like looking up at the stars, like, okay, what the hell's going on right now? This is one of those moments where like, fork in the road.
Yeah.
Left, right.
Is it still embedded in your brain like that? Every little detail of there's a rock sitting over there in the alley. There's all that because of that. How 100%. Huge.
And we can all relate with that. Where it's like, it's not every year, every day this stuff happens. Like there are a handful of pivotal moments in your life, just like there are people, but there are a handful of like pivotal moments in your life where you just like snapshot. Mm-hmm. You're like, for better or for worse, but you remember like the scent in the air and everything. And that was 100% wonderful.
But you're being asked to be a part of a band or be the lead singer of a band when Bradley Nowell passed away in 96 and you're coming in 2009.
Yeah,
rest in peace, Bradley Nowell. 2009. Yep. So like fans were itching for this. And I mean, there's a big shoes to fill. And boy, did you fill them.
Thanks, man. They're my favorite band. I mean, I can't even lie to you, I don't know if this would have fared so well if it was like, Oasis or something. No slight to them, but I just, I grew up in California.
Mm-hmm.
And
is it weird that you keep saying they're?
Who?
Them. That you're saying they're. It's you. Like you are the band. You're in the band now. You're like, they're my favorite band. I'm like, that's you, bro.
Super humble. So in my eyes, Sublime will always be Brad, Bud, and Eric, no matter the iteration.
Yeah,
right.
Who comes in, who comes out, or whatever. I've been honored to be the person that they've trusted to carry the music to hundreds of thousands of people over the last 15 years. But I know, when I close my eyes and I think of Sublime, like I'm looking at Bradley, I'm looking at Bud, I'm looking at Eric, I'm looking at Lou Dog. Yes, sir, 100%. And that's where I'm like, I'll always be honored to be that person to, carry that torch for Sublime, But by no means even is that my like, end all be all to my creativity. It's just been an incredible journey that I don't know. I mean, we just have a lot of fun doing it.
Does it feel weird to you now though that you're not only filling those shoes, but you got to remember that now you are that Brad, like Brad was for you, you are that Brad for somebody out there or some kid out there who's looking up and going, man, I can't wait. I want to be Rome. I want to do Rome. And I want to do like, is there pressure? Do you feel any?
Oh, no, man. Just a lot of like, I'm just grateful for all this stuff, man. I mean, once you start working in like pressure, I mean, there's always cooked in pressure to like work and deadlines and things like that. But as far as like trying to creatively, be someone that I'm not, in terms of like, creativity, that kind of pressure, I don't really think about that.
Well, the amount of the love and respect people have for you, people are coming to you now. I mean, Enrique Iglesias?
Hey, man, it's been a crazy world.
Wow.
Just like,
Cypress Hill, you're on stage with all these guys.
Yeah. No, it's nuts. We did a run last summer with Stupid, and then before that, Incubus. Love those guys. Yeah, man, it's been crazy.
What are some of those stories?
We had Mike Heidsinger come up on stage. He's a guitar player at Incubus and
Jelly Roll.
Dude, that's my.
Please, that was recently.
Yeah.
Okay, please tell me about that.
That was recently. Well, we have a song together.
The biggest star right now.
Yeah, I know, dude. It's insane. We have the song together that we did. He put it out last September, and him and his engineer, they reached out to me, Stone Baby, and they were like, yo, dude, would you be interested in singing on the chorus? We both thought you'd be a great fit. And I was like, dude, 100% down. I'm familiar with Jelly Roll, like not like the world was yet, but I was like, I know you've been making moves for a long time, and I love your intersection of music. So I said, yeah, love the song. We did it, we put it out, and then like homeboy became like the biggest superstar. And it's matched with, like the person you see on social media and on TV is like 100%.
I was just gonna say too, that's got to be cool for you going, because he has a very similar story.
Yeah.
Other than getting to be in the band, but as hard as he's worked, and the struggle that he's been through and everything, and my Jelly Roll story was I met him a few years ago, right before everything blew up.
Yeah.
doing this like, this guy Jelly Roll is going to be here too. We were on his bus hanging out. And I remember leaving going, man, what an amazingly sweet, nice guy.
Never changed.
And I hope something happens for him.
Yeah.
Well, something
kind of happened.
Something kind of happened.
You know?
Something kind of happened.
Dude, I mean, you gotta love,
Bringing you on stage.
You gotta love that. Yeah, man. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, it's cool. It's like Sublime, and this is like one of the very, things that I'm like very grateful for is like, Sublime is like a lot of people really enjoy the music of Sublime without even really having to like, read the back of the album covers or anything. They're just like, it's on, and they're like, God, this is good music. And because of that, like, I've been able to, run into all kinds of people through the, like Adam Levine has had us out to play his parties like 4 times.
Are you serious?
Yeah, his 40th birthday, his wedding, his wife's 40th birthday when they renew their vows.
Who was all at the party at that?
There's some legends there. Jonah Hill was there, I think like Don Rather was there. Pretty random.
Dan Rather was there?
Yeah, Dan Rather. Yeah, dude, did some shrooms with Jimmy Buffett's daughter all night. Rest in peace, Jimmy Buffett. But yeah, I mean, there's Jonah Hill was really cool last night.
Yeah.
Oh man, Stevie Nicks playing, like jamming on the acoustic, like 10 feet in front of you. That was pretty legendary. But these are these things where it's like Sublime has taken me like crazy places around the world, introduced me to crazy, people and opportunities.
Have you ever had to pay for weed again?
Well, only when I'm in Brazil, man.
Who do you think was one of your biggest, and maybe even a moment too, where you were just jamming? And to me, I know it means a lot more if somebody in the business looks at you and goes, like me doing to you now, like, hey man, I love what you do. I respect what you do. Like, what are those, what is a really good moment? Somebody that you always looked up to, or somebody that you listened to came over and was like, yo man, dude, I'm glad you guys are doing it again and you sound great. Like, who do you think would be one of the biggest?
I mean, as a songwriter and producer, anybody who cuts one of my songs, just thank you,
Yeah.
But, speaking of Enrique, he's definitely one of them. I mean, we did so much extensive work with him on like, his music, especially this one record, his last album, Sex and Love. We basically moved to Miami for like 2 years and like did this record. And, you get to know somebody and just like the reassurance of, like the late nights and we're rapping by the pool, and it's like, what do I do this for? And it's like, because it's in here, it's like those kind of moments, he's like
a brother.
Exactly, and I've had those kind of moments with some really awesome people. And even more importantly, man, like fans, like hearing from people who just like, who aren't like killing it or like aren't famous or don't have like a lot of means, and hearing their stories and like, and you're here, like you're wearing my shirt, like that's like, that gives me chills even saying it, more so than any validation from any celebrity, definitely.
Well, think about how far you've come. I mean, going from Fremont to LA, living in your van. Yeah, shout out Fremont, East Bay, right?
Them a little name
We had Christina Yamaguchi from Fremont.
Oh, there we go.
I'm hitting the yellow belt for that one.
Who I mean, we just had Scott Hamilton on, who knows Christina Yamaguchi, and he dropped her name.
I was gonna say it, but I was like, I'm gonna save it for the show.
Yeah.
That's right. So,
she's from Fremont.
She's from Fremont, man. Yeah. And prior to me, I mean, not that I'm Christina Yamaguchi or nothing, but she was like, we had her in like every school assembly. There'd be a picture of
That's
her.
how you got into ice skating.
The Fremont Christmas Parade. The Fremont Christmas Parade. She was the Grand Marshal.
Yeah.
So you think Enrique is your guy in your phone? Like if you were broke down and the only person you could call was a celebrity, would it be
probably Brian McFayden?
Enrique?
It all depends for what, If I just wanted like some friendly advice, dude. I just found out yesterday my boy Benny Blanco's dating Selena Gomez. That's pretty crazy.
Oh no way,
yeah, man, that's nuts. I just found that out yesterday, and like Benny is like the most like dude.
Yeah.
He's just like so not famous guy at all, which makes him super famous.
Yeah.
It's like funny. You're around him and you're like, like you're a star without even trying to be a star, you know. But
the humble fame.
Me and him did a lot of like, you know, recording and music and stuff over time, and yeah, you know, he's one of those guys where, you know, I've seen him like just on the phone with like Jimmy Iovine going like, no, this has got to be the next single for
Jimmy Iovine.
You know, Maroon 5 and you know,
Maroon 5.
like, dang, that's how these moves are made, you know, by like badass producers and songwriters like getting on the phone with execs and going like, I'm telling you, this is the record, you know.
Yeah. It's movie
cool.
stuff. It's movie stuff. But when you live it, you're like, how is this movie stuff?
That was one of those scenes. I'm sitting in the back of the cab with Benny, and we're like leaving Soho, and he's like got Jimmy Iovine on the speakerphone, and they're arguing, man. They're arguing over Maroon 5's next single. And he's just working on my humble ass EP, you know?
Yeah.
This is a day off for him, and I'm just listening to all this. I'm like, wow. These are like,
yeah, heavy hitters.
This is like
Was there anyone that in this industry, especially like in that world of like Sublime, back like the whole '90s?
Yeah.
Anyone from that era that's come up to you and wanted you to work on their projects?
Oh man, that's funny. You know,
Recently?
a lot of like really cool people. You know, one time I got slid a DM from Smash Mouth before Steve passed away.
wow!
yeah.
From Steve?
No, from the band asking me if they wanted to, if I'd be interested in fronting their band.
Fronting. Now they got Zach.
But this was before.
yeah,
this
before
is 2
Zach.
years before Steve passed away.
Which would have been crazy because then you and I would have done a show a few months ago together in Vegas.
And yeah, I think we did a show with them once, but I would have never done that.
Did you ever cover any of their stuff?
No, but I should, and now I do because my kids love Shrek so much, man. But no, Smash Mouth is fire. I never really listened to like, you know, their music like super much when I was younger. I was more into other stuff, but yeah, no, dude, I get hit up all the time, you know, from like, you know, people, not all the time, but like, you know, people will reach out because they're a fan of like Sublime and like what I do with Sublime, and they're like, yo, can we have like a piece of that, you know, whether it's like a song on the record or like, yo, my daughter wants to do a whole record like this, you know, like, and I produce and write, so it's like, sure, you know, I'm always like, let me hear it first.
I was like, how do you
Even
pick
with
and
stars,
choose?
like,
How do you
even
pick
with-
and choose?
Even with stars, I'm just like, let me hear what's going on, you know, like, what are you working on? Send me some other stuff you got with other people, you know, because I like to work with a voice, something that I can really work with. And if you don't have a great voice, then like a great story, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what's your story? What are you talking about? What are you singing about? Because then everything after that becomes so much, you know, more fun and easier. But once the essentials are covered, that's where I like to go. And usually I can kind of tell if I'm like going to be of service to this or, you know, maybe not so much. And the last thing I ever want to do is like get in a room with an artist and like waste their time, you know, like know that like I'm not elevating your vision. I'm just kind of keeping it here. So like,
Have you gotten in a room where you feel like they've wasted your time?
Well, you know,
Those we won't name
you
drop,
know,
but yeah.
I mean, dude, you definitely go through those times, especially when you're growing and getting going.
Mm-hmm.
As you get older, I've gotten better at just saying no.
Yeah.
You know, and not even out of a fact of just like, you know, it's not to my caliber. It's more so of just like, I look at it very simple. I'm like, this could be either time with my kids at home or, you know, it's work. And it's got to be work that I love now, you know? So it's kind of an easier way to say no now, but in the beginning, absolutely. You know?
Some of my favorite things with Rome is going on YouTube and watching and listening to your covers.
Thanks, man.
Is Post Malone, has he heard any of your stuff?
Yeah, dude, we did a show with Post. Actually, I ran into Post for the first time. This is how that whole thing came about. I ran into Post when I was living in LA at the sneaker shop off of Fairfax. I forget what it's called. But anyway, so I ran into
Not
him.
Flight Club. Flight Club.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I'm
know
like,
that. Shout
this
out.
was like back, probably like maybe 6 or 7 years ago. And
Back 6 or 7 years ago.
well, before I had
that's
a kid.
cute. That's
before
cute.
I had a kid. Yeah, right. That's my version of back, at least for now in this Storm reference. But and I heard, you know, him and his girl, like, she's like, oh, I think that's a dude from Sublime. And he goes, yo, man, are you the dude from Sublime? I'm like, you're Post Malone. What's up, dude? He's like, yo, me and my girl saw you in Dallas a couple summers ago, blah, 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 blah. yeah, man, nice to meet you. Let's trade numbers. And we kept in touch and stuff. But you know, he's always busy. I'm always busy. And then he had this Bud Light show coming up, like this like bar show that they were putting on, live band. It was going to be like real edgy, you know, just kind of like throw and go kind of style.
Yeah.
And that's like where we thrive, you know. And like within the music industry, like we kind of have a reputation of like, yo, Sublime can show up and just play.
Right.
Like we don't need like hella stuff. Like,
right.
It's the music's there. You know what I mean? So we do that stuff. And so we got the call because like he was like, they were trying to think of all these bands and put it together. And he was like, yo, why don't you see if like Sublime With Rome's interested? And we are signed to the same agent, UTA. So it was a quick phone call, like, you know, straight to me. It was like, yo, Post is thinking about having you play his show. And I'm like, have him text me.
Yeah, right.
And then he texted me, he's like, yo, would you be down to do this? And I'm like, absolutely. Like, how many songs we talking? He's like, the entire set. We're already on tour.
Yeah.
Full calendar, and the show's in 3 weeks. And so we were I said yes. So we were basically, every sound check, we weren't even sound checking. We were just knocking off Post Malone songs, learning them. Ones I didn't even know, and learning them. And by the time we played with them that day, we got a sound check in with him. And then yeah, we got to go. And then we went back into his trailer, and you know, I was like in there with like 1,000 famous people who I have no idea who they are. They're all like just designers and TikTokers.
There was a line of Bentleys outside that you were.
Everybody had so much money in there, and I'm like squeezed in there with my guitar tech. We're like, dude, I don't know, man.
This is kind of a random, funny kind of question though, but it just sparked when you said that you and Post were there, and like, yeah, just give me your number. Do you have in your phone any like text chain or group texts with random celebrities that people would be like, what? Why do you? Because, you know, I've got a few with different random people in it. It's the ones that, I just saw a funny meme, and you send it to that, you know, to that group. Or like, is there anybody that you have a group text with that you're kind of like, this is a fun group text?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I was in a group text with so my buddy Niles Dar, he's a big DJ now, Kashmir, and he was like the producer for when we were working on the Enrique stuff. So we would be on this like, you know, text thread with like all these people and all these bands, like shooting like just like sports, like gnarly memes, you know, like singers of like, you know, just random bands like me and the guys from the Dirty Heads, and then like, you know, obviously like Niles and Martell, like our awesome like songwriting buddy who just got #1 with Bailey Zimmerman.
Wait.
Yeah, no, you know, it's like a whole like kind of community of like just people who just like to throw the roasting memes.
Yeah.
You know, especially during the season, you know, football season.
I've got one that I do a lot. I throw up a lot of text. I never get anything back though.
Is that from me?
Yeah, it's from you.
The one you just that's just called a text.
Like I'll do like a group text with like his wife and him and
my kid.
And then they write. Yeah, your kid won't write me back.
Well, he doesn't have a phone.
He's 6.
That's good. That's good. Probably should.
But
it'd be weird if he did too.
But your wife will write back. She's like, have you heard from Chris? And I'm like, you're right next to him.
On the phone.
We were just talking about yesterday. She's like, can you tell me his call time? And I'm like, can't he call? And she's like, he won't even answer my text.
And I just told her, shh, be quiet. I'm trying to watch this. No, that's you know, because I've always wondered that, you know, because we still have a group text, and then I've got, you know, my some random celebrity friends, and some of them are just like, you know, jumbled up with, you know, normal people, and then some celebrities in there, and you forget, but it's cool because, you know, being friends with a lot of people like that. And do you find that here in Nashville, you know, now that you're here, do you have a clique? Do you have like a bunch of guys that like, you know, this is my writing crew, or this is my chilling crew? Like, you know, we want to watch a game, I'm going to go out with these guys or these girls or whatever. Yeah, I mean, so for me, because of the sake of time, I just like merged the two. I'm like, you know what? I love writing songs with you, and I like hanging with you. So we're just gonna be friends. Yeah.
Bring the families together.
You know, exactly. Yeah. I mean, because you know, I don't have I got 3 kids. Mm-hmm. I tour the world, and then I work on when I come home, I work on records for other people. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I don't have a mad time to be sitting around top golfing and stuff. So I'm like, when it is, I'm like, really big on like stacking things. I know that sounds really weird, but
no, that makes sense.
I don't really chill a lot. I'm not like a chiller, so I'm like, okay, me and my guys, we're gonna write songs and hang out at a cabin, in the mountains, and get wasted and do fun guy stuff, but write songs and come out of there with records.
I saw your on your Instagram you had. You got a Traeger, which is pretty dope.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Traeger, man. They've been blessing us for years.
Wait. So was that for Thanksgiving with all the deviled eggs? You had a feast, dude.
Yeah. We had a bunch of people come over. Yeah, sorry,
man.
How many deviled eggs do you think you can eat before?
That was my tray there. It's bad. But
before you're like dying,
before you're on the commode.
You gotta remember too that it's cut in half because a deviled egg, it's only half.
Yeah, but it's all the mayonnaise, the other stuff in there. That's the one that's going to get you on the shitter
Get you.
That's the worst smell.
That'll get you on your back.
It's like, what is that? Sulfur? Oh my God!
How did we get here?
Then you got to be like, hey, don't come in here. I just made deviled eggs.
Yeah. Trust me, you don't want this.
You definitely don't want this. But I saw that Instagram. I was like, damn, why weren't we friends before?
Dude, last Christmas, man, like we had a pizza. I just we didn't feel like doing the whole Christmas dinner thing with the ham and the potatoes.
Pizza, pizza's a tradition. Pizzas. Pizza's our tradition.
It is.
Christmas,
what's up.
Christmas Eve. But Christmas Eve, what we do is we go out and my wife and I, we get all dough, like freshly made dough.
We all make our own.
And then everybody makes their own personal pan pizza, and that's just kind of a fun little Christmas Eve tradition. Like,
not gonna lie, I got a whole other Traeger just for that. It's bigger, just so I can fit more pies.
Pizzas with the Traeger?
Oh, yes, sir.
This is a commercial for Traeger.
Yeah, it's great.
Brought to you by Traeger. Enjoy your Christmas.
How are your kids liking Nashville? Are they like...
Oh, they love it. I mean, they're so young, they don't even know. It's I have a 6'4" and a 2-year-old, and they love it just because, it's just so fun for them, and we get to do a lot of stuff
they do sports?
We're out here, Yeah. Football,
the 6-year-old?
baseball, soccer, both of them swap every season, bunch of stuff. So that's another thing too. When I'm home, I'm like, I'll call up my boys and be like, yo, my kid's got a game on Saturday. You trying to pull up?
That's what you do.
Hang out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's plus, that's fun anyway.
Right.
And I'll do the same with their kids and stuff, But
that's great that you make sense of it and make it so, you know what? These are the guys I write with anyways. Because even hey, come over Sunday, our teams are playing, let's watch it. Be sitting there watching the game and you're like, yo, I got this idea.
That's how it goes. In fact, that's where most of it comes from.
Right.
I'm sure
people don't understand. You're not sitting in a room with a publicist and a record label and they're going, okay, write this. What do you think of this? It's you're drinking it, losers with a buddy of yours, and you're like, you know what?
But you got to show up and do it. That's the thing. You gotta
follow through.
Oh, that support.
You're gonna take L's. You're gonna there's gonna be those days where you're like, that was a complete waste of a day. Mm-hmm. But because that's what gets you to that day where you're like, oh, that was a good.
Yeah. So is it a waste of a day then?
No way. It's just a step.
It's a learning. It's a learning
to the thing.
Right.
So that's how I see it. So they're not all gonna be winners, but when you can fuse it together where you're having a good time, and that's how I like to write music. When
you got a good writing core here?
Around. Yeah, I got some friends out here.
Who you working with here? Give them some.
Chris Gelbuta, big shout out to him, man. He's a huge friend of mine. Jake Mitchell, killing the game. Man, Wyatt Durrett, amazing. Aaron Ratier, love him to death. Yeah, there's so many guys out here that are just so talented, and
they're all embedded in the culture too. They're embedded in the scene. Through them, you meet other people. And have you found yourself really getting into country and getting into the artists? And because the writers and even a lot of the artists are, they could kind of go a lot of different ways.
A good song is a good song.
Yeah, Jelly Roll's one especially. That
100%. And I'm. I've done stuff for all kinds of people, different genres. That's what I mean. And, country, one thing that I love about country is it revolves around a great song. Mm-hmm. And then the producing kind of comes afterwards, most of the time. But the core of the entire record is the song and the lyric at that.
Or a hook.
Or a hook. And I just find that so interesting, and I don't know, it's very true, very, very true. So coming from LA, I've been in LA for 15 years in that world, doing records for Selena and Rihanna and all that stuff. And it's Coming over here, it's been just a couple of there. Coming over here, you know, it was like a whole different kind
Taught
of
you
thing,
a lot?
You know?
Has it taught you a lot about music?
Oh man, it's helped. Well,
Because you probably didn't listen too much, right?
I didn't listen to a lot of country, no. But I'd come out here and work. You know, I'd come out here and work with like Jewel and Hillary Lindsay and stuff. Jake Owen. But like, you know, getting in the door and in the scene over here, it's not like, you know, you can't just move to LA and be like, hey guys, can I come get into the room with the biggest rights? Like, what? No, we're good. We got it covered, you know? But, you know, that's how it goes. I mean, you have to earn your way into anything, you know? So it's cool, you know. I just like to have fun, write songs with the people I love, and let the songs do what they got to do.
Old Dominion came to you and he was like, you know what, Rome, we like what you do with Sublime. We want you to come and join the band.
Dog, man, I ain't joining no more bands, man.
Trevor's a good friend of mine. I'll get you an Old Dominion.
Nope. I'm good.
But you think, because now you got some downtime, right, because of the holidays, and then you start back up on tour again in February.
Yep.
When you're going out, you're going out west.
One-offs and stuff. Oh, and then with Rome and Duddy. So I'm in a project with Duddy from the Dirty Heads.
Yeah.
Those are like my brothers. And man, I mean, it was like really formed out of, you know, us doing exactly what I was saying, just like hitting the mountains.
Yeah.
And trying to put together a sound of like what we're into, you know. We were really listening to heavy, like in the pandemic, we were like in this Jimmy Buffett kind of thing, and then like listening to like Graham Parsons, and just like, okay, how can we fuse this kind of reggae with like this country twang thing? And that's where we kind of stumbled on this sound, and we came up with our song Cannabis Tree, which kind of started to get things rolling for us. And so we put together the project based on like, you know, those sessions, and we took it to the road, and like our fans are like, you know, this is crazy. You guys are just on acoustics doing storytelling and like, you know, playing this music that is like, it's derivative from where you come from, but it's unique in its own.
You've always been into reggae? Like that
Since
was like
I was a kid.
So like, do you, because I love that. Like that is like, to me, you can morph that with, like you said, with country, with anything, and make it sound 10 times better because of the beats, because of the music. So were you a big Police fan?
Oh, Police
back
are great.
in the day?
Yeah. Police are really, really great. But I grew up on like more like Peter Tosh and like, you know, Marley obviously, but like Toots and the Maytals, and because my dad, he was from Mexico and Southern California, and he was super into reggae. So
what was your dad's name?
Renee. Yep, that's my pops. So, you know, I got a lot of that influence from him. And then my mom was just straight Motown and top 40. And I mean, that's
you got influence from her too.
What I am. I mean, that's like exactly what I am to the T, you know? It's funny.
How do you think the rap, and by rap, I don't mean R.I.P. rap, I mean the rap on pop music has been? Because you know how, at least in the late 90s, early 90s, 2000s, pop music kind of got a bad label a little bit. Like nobody wanted to be pop.
Yeah, no. Like,
everybody
that's a bad
wanted
word.
to be something else. But
That's
don't you feel like even the country that's out right now is pop music?
Well,
like
Drake has a huge rap song, and it's called Pop Star, and he's a pop star. He said he's a pop star. Because I'm a pop guy. I'm a pop writer.
Right.
And like, it drives people crazy. They're like, why is a guy from Sublime a pop writer? And why does he write songs for Selena Gomez and shit? I'm like, because that's what I love.
Right.
I love great, massive hooks, catchy stuff that's going to stick inside your head forever. That's the kind of music I like to listen to.
Right.
So that's the kind of music I write.
At least you're honest.
100%, man. Nothing to hide. And this is the great thing about the internet. Is it kind of leveled everything to where before there were gatekeepers to be like, keep that rock away from this country, keep that hip hop away from this pop. Our pop stars can't go near all that stuff. And then like with the internet, it's just like, come on. People are just fusing stuff together, and like the younger generations, like the kids are into like the Dominic Fikes and stuff, and they're making whatever the hell their heart wants.
I mean, massive.
Monday it's this,
You're always
Wednesday
gonna
it's
have.
this.
Yeah.
It's great. Now, when you want to play the game a little bit, when you want to start going, like, say you want to take some of this stuff that's blowing up and put it on radio, now you're talking about a different thing.
Yeah, now
you're
you
talking
have to
about old business.
Put yourself into a hole a little bit.
And then the more successful that becomes in old business, the more you get labeled as that.
Which is crazy because, just again thinking that you're still so young and everything. And I think like what I got to live through in my life, like, bands that were brand new bands and now they're legends or things like that. It's kind of crazy because back in the day, Christian music, country music, hip hop, you didn't cross over because the fans were so loyal to that that they wanted you. They didn't want you to go pop. They didn't want you to go mainstream. The minute you did, you were dead to them.
They wanted to like hold you.
Oh, you remember like in the early 2000s when Nelly teamed up with Tim McGraw and everyone was like, whoa, what's going on here?
I'm thinking even in the early 90s when...
Run DMC.
That was the 80s. Run DMC and Aerosmith.
Yeah.
Were out, which was funny. I remember
people probably burned that record.
Yeah, I remember watching that video going, who's this band Run DMC's playing with right now? Like I wasn't a big rock guy then. I was kind of more into the hip hop, and then I became more of a rock guy. But it's just insane that you said it's probably the internet, and I'm sure it is that has been able to morph everything. We're more of a gray. There's so much more gray area in music now.
Yeah.
To where you can't just be one thing. I mean, you look at the Country Music Awards, there's always somebody coming in.
Well, we just had this conversation not too long ago. It was Morgan Wallen, and there's a lot of hip hop influence in his music. I mean,
Jelly
Roll.
Jelly
Roll's another one.
Jelly
Yeah,
Roll's
he was all hip hop.
I mean, which is, makes sense, especially now. I mean, pop music kind of breaks in Los Angeles, and then eventually it kind of gets to Nashville. But like LA is like almost basically washed its hand from hip hop. They're like on to like, Olivia Rodrigo and et cetera.
Right.
So over here, like they're just finishing up with the trap hi-hats over here before they're going to be on to like some other thing, But it's always cyclical, but I do think that true pop stars are still made with old media. Like radio and terrestrial radio and television just does something to like the U.S. anyway, and to foreign markets. Like they see someone just plastered on television next to Jimmy Fallon, you're going to take that way more serious than a TikToker with 6 bajillion views on everything and 100 million monthly listeners. Like, don't care because they're not like sitting there next to Jimmy Fallon and Adele, and it's like it's different,
So being a big pop head, this is exactly where I've been, my whole life. A really good question then would be, go through like maybe 3 of the genres and tell me who of that genre you like the most, and then finish it up with who's your like guilty pleasure? Who would be somebody that, especially because pop is easy to do that too. And I'll tell you mine straight up.
Yeah.
Is Jonas Brothers.
Oh, Jonas Brothers.
That is mine straight up. Like that's one that I just told.
Gotta give those guys some love.
Of course. I would tell, like, if I'm with my boys or I'm out, I'm like, oh yeah, they're cool, whatever. But if I'm in the gym and nobody can hear what I'm listening to, there's some Jonas Brothers on there, like new stuff. And so, who would you say? Like, let's start with rock. What rock bands do you really listen to or like?
Sublime.
Yeah, I don't get high off my own supply as much anymore.
Is that a shirt? You guys have that shirt?
I should make one.
You should have that shirt. I don't get high off my own supply.
I had to make sure what I'm wearing. I mean, as far as like rock bands goes, like new or like old or
doesn't matter. Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
I've been listening to a lot of like older stuff, lately. Like
careful.
Yeah.
Because you say older.
Yeah, no,
if you say Blink 182, I'm going to have a heart attack.
That's crazy that that's old now.
Yeah.
Right.
That like super blows my mind.
Nirvana.
But like, like as of recently, like Van Morrison, but that's not really rock.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's...
Van Morrison used to be considered rock back then. Beatles, of course, listening to some Beatles at home. And then, I've been listening to stuff like Nathaniel Ratcliffe. And the Night Sweats. Like I've been really getting into that world. That's been like really sick. And then I listen to like a lot of soul, like Lee Fields. Anything from like Daptone Records is like amazing.
And what about pop music?
Okay, like so for like some pop music, like I mean, pretty much anything that's like dope on the radio, I'll slap, But the Olivia Rodrigo stuff is crazy. It's really good. It's really well done. Taylor Swift, I'm not going to lie, there's a lot of Taylor Swift that gets listened to around my house.
There's a lot of great girl singers now. Dua Lipa.
A lot of
those.
Got a great record. I love how she does disco. Actually,
Sia.
That's really great. Sia's incredible.
Colby Calais.
Are you a big LSD guy?
Like
The band Labyrinth, Sia, and Diplo?
No, but I remember that record that they put out.
Yeah, they had a really good record with that
It's
too.
a great name too.
Yeah.
By the way.
I try to. I need to ding that
Bieber.
one.
I mean,
Because I throw that into everything. I think because that's
Which
one
ones?
of my favorite. The LSD thing. I think that's my favorite. That's
LSD's time. That's a.
All right, now what's the guilty?
My guilty pleasure. Oh man.
Wham.
Just don't say.
Damn.
Yeah.
No, dude.
If
no.
you say, the
But
only way I'll
probably-
get offended is if you say Backstreet Boys.
No, God, I wouldn't do that to you.
You're
I
more
wouldn't
of
do
a,
that to
like
you.
an O-Town.
I'm more of an O-Town guy myself.
90 degrees is where it's at.
98 degrees. Wow, I remember that too. No, I'm gonna probably say George Michael.
Yeah,
He's awesome, man.
that's a good one.
So I was close with Wham.
Yeah, you
Did you
were.
see the documentary on it?
No.
The amazing
I did a
documentary.
couple
That
years
was
ago.
that was
How
great.
about
yeah.
That
Andrew
was a really good
Ridgely?
one.
Just his solo project, Andrew Ridgely's solo record. He was the other guy in
Yeah,
Wham.
the other guy.
Okay.
Wham.
Damn.
He was the Chris Kirkpatrick in Wham.
Do you know who Chris Kirkpatrick is?
Who's that again?
That's the biggest name drop we've had so far.
Shut up. Shut up.
I do got a really cool story with Christopher Walken.
Oh, yeah. Let's
Okay,
hear it.
yeah.
All right, so we were.
Can you do the impression?
I'm terrible at impressions.
Can you?
No, I don't.
That's a really hard one to just go
Yeah.
for too.
Yeah, that is.
That one and like Trump, to get a good Trump impression is like, don't even try. Okay, so we're playing the show in Detroit. This is like the first year that we're a band even. And we're staying at our hotel, and it was pretty much empty because it's Detroit, And there were rumors that like Miley Cyrus and Christopher Walken were shooting a movie locally, and they were staying at this hotel. So I was like, okay, cool, So I get up to my room, and like the first thing I always do is I, start smoking some weed, and
Shout out weed.
shout out weed.
Shout out my drug dealer.
I
Pebble.
I get a call from the hotel front desk, and they're like, "Hey, we have reports of smoke coming from your room." And I'm like, "I'm not smoking up here." And they're like, "Sir, there's only 2 people staying on that entire floor, and you are the only person that is here." Right. And then I'm like, "Well, then how do you know I'm smoking on the floor?" It's like, "Well, the other tenants' mothers, they're dropping off luggage." I'm like, okay. So I put it out, right? And I go downstairs, and the bellhop's like, "Dude, Miley Cyrus is staying here." And I'm like, okay. Put 2 and 2 together. She's like next to me. And so we're down there smoking, and we go to our tour bus across the way. And we're just in the back lounge, smoking some weed, passing it around, having fun. And in walks from the back lounge, the sliding door opens, in walks our manager and Christopher Walken. And Christopher Walken comes up and is like, our manager, Cheese, goes, "Hey, Chris wants to smoke. Do you have a couple joints for him that he could take?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll roll some up right now, dude." I'm like, "Just give me 2 minutes, dude. Give me 2 minutes, And he's
Best joint you've ever rolled.
He's just like, yeah, no problem. And he's just looking around, and he's playing with the curtains on the bus, and just kind of looking it around. And I'm just like, dude, it's an honor. I'm a big fan, dude. And he's just like, yeah. He's like, "What's the name of your guys' band?" And it's Sublime with Rome. I'm the Rome guy. The Sublime guys are up there. And he's like, you sleeping? You sleeping here? And I'm like, "Yeah, that's actually mine." He's just like, it's like a coffin. And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess." And it got really dark when he said that. I was like, "Oh man, that Goodfellas just came out real quick, I was like, I better roll these quick." So I hit him over the 2, and I'm like, "Here you go, man. It's an absolute honor." And he was like, "Thank you, my friend. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate this." And then he got off the bus, and dude, randomly we walked off stage the next night. We weren't playing I think we were playing the rave or something. It was just like.
You wanted 2 more joints.
Dude, yeah, there he is. He got any
There's
more.
the
But
guy
dude,
who can roll the really good joints.
he came, and maybe not for the whole set, but he came at least for the last song or two, and then he was there after we got off, and it was like, dude, what's up? Yeah, it was really cool.
So you're boys with him now. That's kind of.
I'm
you say it.
really bad at
That was actually a really good name drop.
networking. I'm like one of those guys who is in a crazy situation, and I'm with all these awesome people, and then I leave, and my boy's like, dude, did you get his number? You guys should hang out. And I'm like,
yeah,
no, I was just. It wasn't natural,
Do you ever have any?
Had to be hey, can I have your number so we can hang out?
Do you ever have any of those moments where you see, because Scott had one with Scott Hamilton
With Ronald Reagan.
with
That's rad.
what's his name? Robert Plant.
Ooh,
that's
that's the same age.
Do you ever have a moment where you see somebody and you're like, I want to go say hi so bad, but because I'm the worst at that.
Fangirl?
I'm the worst at that.
Oh, dude, I have so am
Okay.
I. So am I.
Because I hate going up to people. I'm like,
Same.
I'm not going to go hi.
And not
I'm
because
Chris.
I'm that guy,
Right.
where I'm I'm with my family.
Right.
I'm not that guy by any means.
You just don't want to go up and
I just
have.
don't want to do that to them,
Yeah.
because I'm I just don't want to do that. I'm with you on that. Okay, so Sublime's got a show. We're at LAX, and we're in line at the Cinnabon in that little cul-de-sac, and I'm with tag that one.
Cinnabon.
And then I'm with my
That's when you're hungry.
my DJ, and we're in line, and he's like, dude, there's Nas. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, there's Nas. He's in line at the McDonald's, and I look over, and I'm like, shit, that is Nas.
Nas
he's
eats
there with,
McDonald's?
that's my first thought. I'm like, he's one of us. Yes.
Right.
And he's with his security guard, and of course his security guard is he's massive. And they're just sitting there, and he's like, dude, I think I'm gonna go say hi. And I'm like, why? You can't go say hi, dude. He's just getting breakfast. I'm like, look at him. He's got his security guard next to him. By the time he's gone, I look up, he's already over there. He's like, big respect.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, son of a bitch. He comes back and is like, dude, he's so nice. You should go up there and just introduce yourself. I'm like, well, I can't go now.
Yeah.
I can't just double up. You were supposed to
Yeah,
be like,
wait
dude,
for
come
me.
with
Let's
me.
go
Come
together.
on. It ain't that bad. You're supposed to bro me into that.
Yeah.
Now I can't just double him up.
Did you double him up?
You
No,
didn't.
man,
No, you
I let
didn't.
him know. Dude, another.
Have you met him
one more.
since? Have you?
No, I wish. One more. I grew up worshiping Rage Against the Machine too. Love those guys, man. Love those guys.
I love Tom.
Morello,
Tom's great.
One of my huge guitar inspirations. Out of all of the things that I've done and worked with and traveled and met, I've never met Rage or any of the guys from Rage. And we have 1 degree of separation too, which is really funny. But anyway, so here I am at LAX again, getting ready to go to a show, and I'm sitting down right here, it's on my phone, and right next to me, dude, just fucking Tom Morello, bro, with his guitar.
No way.
Right here. Didn't even respect the
space.
just went there. And
The other empty seats.
dude, I'm like, it's early, so you really could have. And he just sat there, right? And I'm like, shit, this is that moment. I'm like, and literally just like the movies, I'm literally reciting different variables of what to say. Hey, what's up, dude from Sublime? No, that's lame.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, huge fan. Nah, he won't even
Yeah.
talk. Okay, hey, man, I also play guitar. What you got? I'm trying to think of how to do it.
Are those Bugable jeans you're wearing?
You know what I mean? I'm like, what
like your
am I
Cubs
going to
hat.
do? Yeah, right. Always start with sports. Rule number one.
Yeah.
And before I could even think, they just called his gate and he was up and gone.
Oh man, I almost got fired because of Rage Against the Machine. I was on MTV. It was my first few months at MTV, and it was right when MTV had
Rage.
MTV Choose or Lose, and I'm doing this whole news thing on TRL. Carson just teed me up, and I'm going on talking about Rage Against the Machine, trying to get people to vote. And Tom Morello gets in speaking, and he's just getting all political because they're a very political band. And
No.
I forgot I was on TV. And we come out of the package, and I go blah 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 blah. And that was the worst thing you could ever do. One, not only did I diss Tom Morello, but I dissed Rage Against the Machine, and I'm supposed to be a news guy. Yeah, I got sent up to the principal's office.
Have
they
have you
almost fired
talked
me.
to him since?
I remember
Tom?
apologizing after that.
Every time I see him, I just apologize.
No, but it was such a huge
listening,
deal.
I swear.
I almost got fired.
How did you not get fired? I mean,
So wait, so you haven't
that,
met Tom?
Can we just ding
Dude,
for
this
your
was like
boss,
20
dude? Like that guy is like
This is
awesome.
23 years ago.
This is for that boss who didn't fire you, dude. Today, that fool would have let your ass go to New York second.
Dude, I was.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I never felt
People
so
were
bad
kind
in my,
back then.
But I remember. Oh man, I was. Yeah, my frosted tips were on too tight. I was like one of the.
Yeah. You get me a water over here.
Yeah. So you haven't met Tom since?
No, man. No.
That's. Hopefully he would watch this and be like, oh,
I don't know if I want to
man.
meet him
I
now.
hope he
but-
doesn't.
I'm not gonna be watch this.
Let's leave that one as a memory.
Hey,
shall
I'm
we?
pretty sure
Memories.
Tom probably isn't
Please
watching.
don't air this.
Yeah.
What? So you got in 2024? You're starting out in January or January.
Yep. Sublime with Rome's got some shows that we got.
Yeah.
I've been putting together this like music in my head, like on my free time, just the solo music. So it's like I can't wait to start planning the release of that.
Yeah.
Really excited for that. I got a tour coming up with Rome and Duddy, producing some records for some artists next year. Yeah, man, a lot of really awesome things.
2024 is gonna be a big year.
Yeah, coaching some more sports for my kids and.
Any new music with Sublime? Like, are you?
Yeah,
are you
yes.
guys-
We got a single drop in the next couple months. It's the one that we feel is like, the best one that we've put out in a while. And, we're going to complete it with a couple other tracks and make an album out of it because we just put out a new
Oh, that's
one.
right.
So, a lot of people are saying that this is like this last EP we put out is like some of the best stuff we did. So, which is cool because I'm a little more torn. Like the last album we did, I really loved it. It was just a big thing for me. So going in on this one, I was just kind of like, I'm like, well, I hope it's better than that one, But you never know. With you know how it goes when you're making this shit. It's like it's got to come from a real place, and you never want to buy your own hype. So I'm just like giving my best.
Do you think it's kind of crazy though too now in Nashville? Like I feel like one of the main things, and it's about music too, is you don't get the fakeness.
Mm-hmm.
Like here, they don't fall for the fakeness. Even if you're not that talented, even if you're not that great, if you're honest about it and you love it, they love it.
That's what it is.
And
yeah.
they'll go for
they'll
it.
see
And I
through
feel like
that
this
shit.
town especially is really good at that. Like they listen to your heart. They don't listen to your words or anything else because they'll
That's
see
LA.
they'll
No
see
such thing
right
as a
through the
bad meeting in LA.
fakeness.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's not. Everyone's your friend.
No TMZ here. No.
No.
Not yet.
No, they tried.
They tried. Yeah.
They tried.
Yeah, they
Take
got
them
rid
out.
of them.
It won't happen here. They'll
gotta have,
run them out of town.
That's another awesome thing about here too, because like I'll have my friends who don't know nothing about like Nashville, and they're just like, "Why Tennessee? Why did you go to like Ohio or something?" And I'm like, "Okay, well let's play that game."
Wait, shout out Ohio. Your
very
wife's from there.
beautiful.
My
Yeah,
son's
Sorry,
from there.
go Ohio.
Yeah, but I mean,
But
it's
we
fine.
get it.
There's so many reasons why you would understand, but. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely that sort of like respect and kind of privacy out here, and I don't know, it's like a weird unspoken kind of rule that everyone kind of also just like without having to say anything, everyone knows it's like come 4:00, like it's kind of time to wrap it up,
Right.
Like I love that about Nashville.
9 to
I've always
5.
loved- 9 to 5, like everyone knows. It's like
Even in the music
you gotta
business.
be home for dinner. Like, dude, LA sessions, like, dude, let's come over at 8:00, bro. We'll go. I'm like,
I've started at 1:00 in the morning sessions sometime, and that's when you get it. Here it is like, remember the old Bugs Bunny cartoon with the dog and the wolf? The dog's guarding the sheep and the wolf.
Oh, yeah.
Clock in at the beginning
yeah.
of it. They're like, all right, who's in the room? All right, put everybody's name down. They're part writers, whatever.
love it.
Noon, you do lunch.
You just name drop Bugs Bunny.
I just name drop.
Like the most random name drop we've had.
That was a first.
That's a good one. Well, dude, I got to be honest with you. I've been looking forward to having you on. I really am.
man.
I'm so proud of you.
Stoked.
So proud of everything that you've done the last 15 years.
Thank you,
and,
man. Thank you.
It's an honor to have Rome from Sublime.
Hey, man.
And that's Sublime with Rome. But
Appreciate
dude,
you, brother.
love you, man.
Now
Yeah.
let's
you guys.
get
Thank
let's
you,
get
man.
Rome to work on the new Nsync record, please. That'd be
man,
great.
It'd be an honor,
But,
man.
that'd
be
It'd be an
great.
honor.
So this
It'd
is
be an
something
honor.
that we do to close out our shows, and Chris likes it when I break out into harmony.
Ooh, let's go.
Name drop. We're just gonna go name drop.
Do you want me to
I'll
hit
do
the
a
harmony?
harmony.
Oh my God.
You wanna do
Yeah.
harmony?
Oh yeah.
You can do the harmony.
It's the third one.
Name.
Remember that scene in Spinal Tap? Have you guys seen Spinal Tap?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Where
you do
they're
the
over
third,
at
I'll
the
do the one above.
at
They're at the Elvis Presley's
It's
grave.
good. It's,
Since my baby left me, I found a new place
I
to
have
dwell.
no idea what
The
they're
blue
doing.
tree- No. You're on the. You gotta be like. I think it's a. Since my baby. Since my. Well, I'll just do the octave then.
Just do the octave then.
Since my baby.
Oh my God. I have no idea. I love
is
Spinal Tap.
so-
You know.
You guys are singers,
Spinal
man.
Tap is
That's,
the
Spinal Tap's great.
Spinal
They're
Tap
coming
is
back out.
industry standard.
It's an
doing
industry
something
standard.
else?
I think they're
It's
doing
the
it.
only
Yeah.
phone that I actually have downloaded, or the only movie I actually have downloaded on my phone.
Spinal Tap.
Like it's cooked into
Dude,
the RAM.
I did a band. I did a rock band, like a pop rock band kind of thing with a couple buddies of mine, and we called ourselves Nigel's 11.
That's amazing.
Nigel's 11, because this amp goes to 11. Nigel Tufton.
So good.
So we
You
had
can go
Nigel's
grab a
11.
bite.
Yeah, you just go
back.
grab
It's still ringing.
and it's still ringing.
there.
Just no, don't touch it.
Hi,
That
I'm
one's
Brian.
not
Don't
to
even
be
look.
touched.
In fact,
Don't even.
hanging out
We're
with
done with it.
two singers.
I
So-
love that. We're done with this.
You're
one.
gonna hit the high. I'm gonna hit the. I'm
Name-
just gonna try to
name-
hit it.
Oh, yeah, let's hit it again.
Okay.
Name drop.
Name drop.
Oh, so here's the problem.
I'm gonna
I
go,
wanted,
name
I wanted you
drop.
to do the. I
Save my
wanted
life.
you to do the third, and I was gonna do like a name drop, but he's not gonna be able to do the.
What did you low?
Go.
We're just gonna have to do the harmony.
I can do
Name-
the baritone on that one.
Okay, let's do it.
Name drop.
There we go. The octave.
okay.
The octave.
And then we just do the same thing we normally do.
Yeah,
I
you
can't
just
see
do
what you say. Are you ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Name drop. Yeah, that was
You
awesome.
might even be able to use that.
You were a little flat there, but it's since
Don't say
my
that to
baby
Rome.
left me, I find a new place to
I was
dwell.
actually. I've been practicing. Rome. Dude, thanks, man.
Thank you guys, man.
You're the best,
We're
bro.
like neighbors now.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. You come back anytime.
Hell yeah, man.
Name drop.